Today, we are diving into some of culture's craziest dating theories. The taxi cab theory. Men are like taxi cabs. One day, their light just turns on, and the next passenger is the one they choose to settle down with.
Okay, bet. I actually think I know someone who did this exact thing, who's in a lot of relationships. Wait a second. Am I talking about Travis Kelce?
The if they wanted to, they would theory.
There is a lady listening right now who needs to hear this. You need to...
Wow, okay, there we go. The slow burn theory.
If you haven't made a promise with a girl from back in the day, you should be like, if we're both not married at 40, let's just jump in. Right?
No. Sometimes I'm scared that our audience isn't going to pick up on the fact that he's joking, but he's joking. This is a good one. Lots of mixed reviews. Taylor made this one famous. Theory.
Let me say this. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Let's Talk About It podcast by Moral Revolution. My name is Daniel Madry.
I'm Ellis Madry.
And thanks for joining us today. We're so pumped about the subject matter at hand.
We are. Today, we are diving into some of culture's craziest dating theories.
Absolutely.
True, false, toxic, lies.
We love it all. Put it in a soup. Let's eat it.
Oh, no, not a soup.
Wait, y'all know about soup, right?
Why don't you tell them about soup?
There's a theory out there. If a girl orders soup on a first date, she's not interested.
True? False?
It's true. Absolutely,
no,
it's true.
Okay, come correct. Where's your biblical evidence for that?
Jacob and Esau sold his birthright for stew. Stew never leads to anything good.
Out of context. Okay, I love it. No, today we're going to break down some of culture's most popular dating theories. And we're going to talk about, is this biblical? Is it not biblical? Can we hang our hat on this, or should we throw it by the wayside?
I'm so excited to hear about these.
Okay.
What I love about my cutie girl over there is she always has one ear to the pulse of culture.
That's right. Okay. So I really just took to TikTok and was like, tell me the most popular dating theories. And we're going to run this through the lens of scripture. We're going to start with this one. This is called the taxi cab theory. And I actually found out about 5 minutes before we started recording this podcast that this is from a TV show called Sex and the City. Never seen an episode. Sorry, not sorry.
Not familiar.
Yeah, not familiar with the context of the theory, but I am now very familiar with the theory itself. This is the taxi cab theory. I want you to tell me whether you find this to be true or false. Men are like taxi cabs.
Okay, bet. Yeah, I'm tracking with you so far.
With me. They don't necessarily marry the love of their life. One day, their light just turns on, and the next passenger is the one they choose to settle down with.
I feel known and seen.
What?
I'm joking. I think at large, I disagree with this.
Yeah.
I think this is good for television. Mm-hmm. Probably, maybe even an Emmy. I don't know.
An Emmy?
Is it an Emmy or a Grammy?
Or a Tony? Emmy is TV, I think.
Yeah. Emmy is TV. Anyways, I think it's good enough for an Emmy. I don't think it stands up to the truth of God's word. I don't think we can find a lot of biblical evidence for that. Mm-hmm. But what are we talking about? We're talking about guys who intentionally wait a long time to get married. Yeah. And it's funny because there I go, I'm like, this doesn't happen. Like, this is the exception, not the rule. And I'm thinking of someone in my head. And I'm like, I actually think I know someone who did this exact thing, who's in a lot of relationships. Wait a second. Am I talking about Travis Kelce?
Oh, no.
Hot off the press.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe not so hot by the time this airs, but when you're ready, you're ready.
You are...
Maybe I disagree. Maybe it is true. Maybe the theory
unhinged.
is true. Maybe when a guy is ready, he's ready.
Yes. Here's the deal. I don't think that this is a theory you can take to the bank. This is not like this applies across the board to everyone. Do some people operate this way? Yes.
And now I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly. Some people who are awesome, stable Christian men would still say, you know what, I really want to be in a certain place in my career before I, sign up to build a life and a family with someone. And so I don't think that this is true across the board. I do think it applies to some people. And I will say, as I was looking through scripture to back this one up, it does say this in Proverbs 24:27. Put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready. After that, build your house.
It's a stretch.
It is a stretch.
It's a stretch. I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
But if we're also parlaying off of Proverbs, the 31 woman is already working.
Yeah.
She's already making money.
So true.
She don't need your money.
Yeah.
But she like it.
Yeah, you're exact. I'm sorry, I heard that. Like it was like a delayed, like what did he say? Yeah. So the taxi cab theory, I would not take that one to the bank. But I do think some people wait until they're ready, and you can't fault them for that. Here's what I would say. Don't wait forever. Yeah. There is a glory to settling down and starting a family.
And the thing is, like, you're like, well, I'm not ready. I don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Struggle together. Oh my goodness. I mean, that builds so much, can build strength, can build resilience, can build teamwork.
Yeah.
I think it is honorable to struggle together, to be like, we're both hustling, we're both trying to make it, we're shopping the sales racks.
We're eating ramen for dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a glory to that.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2, the invisible string theory.
I'm familiar with this one.
Are you familiar with this one?
The stoic Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
As they call her.
Yep. Taylor made this one famous. Here's what the invisible string theory is. 2 people are tied together by an unseen thread, and no matter time, distance, or circumstance, they are destined to meet and end up together. True or false?
Once again, you have to take this with nuance.
Yeah.
Could you build a case for this to be true?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you could. I mean, like, maybe it was, it was always you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell them. That's what I posted whenever we got engaged. I said it was always you.
That's right. You did post that. Here's the deal. The invisible string theory. This is one of those that, like, people like to look back in retrospect.
Okay, so it's not forth-telling.
No, it's not
so
forth-telling.
We can't be like, there's a string, pulling on this string, I'm looking for my one.
I don't think that single people need to be looking around and saying, oh, who is my invisible string connected to? I think a lot of people like to look back once they have met their person, chosen them, gotten married, and they like to identify all the little ways that you were connected the whole time.
I'm going to say connect the dot theory.
Okay. Coined that here. Hey, Let's Talk About It podcast original. But I also think that the idea, if you were to use it as a forth-telling theory, like this, I am tied to someone currently before I get married, and that invisible string is going to pull us together. First of all, that invisible string does not exist.
Invisible for a reason.
Yeah, invisible for a reason. Second of all, this idea is really reminiscent of the idea of soulmates. Like there is one person out there for you floating around, and when you meet, you are going to, complete each other. We would disagree with that theory entirely. We did an episode a few weeks ago about, I guess it was a few months ago now, about soul ties and the idea of like, where did soulmates come from?
Why do we use strings to try to verbalize? Whenever I hear about invisible strings, I think about if everyone's got these invisible strings, people are going to be tripping. Mm-hmm. Like, how do we not get tangled up? We're in this huge web.
Yeah.
Like, this is a cosmic mess.
Yeah.
Like, we're in trouble now.
Yeah, exactly. And so the reality is your soulmate is the person that you choose to marry. It's the person you choose to enter into a covenant relationship with that you attach your soul to.
But let me say this. Mm-hmm. People like connecting the dots.
Sure.
They like to be like, no. in 2016. I was at that same concert, and you were in, what section were you in? Oh my gosh, like I was the next section over. We were so close. Or maybe for our audience, I was at that same church camp. I can't believe it. I was in this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. We love to look back and connect the dots. We love to look for the invisible string. Probably look for it on the back end and not on the front end.
What if God is like, joke's on you? Joke's on you. I have invisible strings on all you guys.
You know what? In that case, if the Lord himself comes down and says, guys, you really got the invisible string theory wrong, I will be the first to repent.
What if it's like we go to heaven and they're like looking at the names, like, it says here you said the invisible string theory isn't real?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you got that one wrong.
First of all, my apologies to Jesus Christ, and second of all, my apologies to Taylor Swift.
We love you, Jesus.
We do love you, Jesus. Okay, let's move on. Number 3. This is a good one. Lots of mixed reviews on this one. The if they wanted to, they would theory. Do you know where this is going?
Go ahead.
Okay. When someone's really interested, they don't send mixed signals. They make the effort. And if they're not making the effort, it means they don't actually want to.
There is a lady listening right now who needs to hear this. You need to move on because there is better for you.
Yeah.
If he is not, I mean, I have seen this as a former young adult pastor. Mm-hmm. I have seen this played out so many times where they're like, I don't know. And guys will do it too. This is not just girls, but like, are they interested? Are they not interested? If you have to ask that question that hard, you have your answer.
Yeah.
It's no. If they wanted you, they would go after you. You can't be like, man, it's been like 4 days since they've texted me, but I can't tell because like 6 weeks ago, they said this whenever we were in a big circle, and I think they meant something by it. And I'm like, okay, we can certainly build evidence for why we think they are interested. But if you flip the script and look at the evidence that might indicate they're not interested,
yeah,
I bet that's a lot bigger.
Totally.
If they're interested, they're going to go for it.
Yes. I would also say that this theory has more validity at the very beginning of a relationship when it comes to gauging initial interest. Where this theory gets a little wonky is when you're, 6 months into a relationship or a year into a relationship, and you have maybe some expectations that you failed to communicate, and you're looking at the other person, you're looking at the person you're in a relationship with, and you're going, if he wanted to, he would. Well, maybe he needs you to tell him. Maybe he needs you to communicate. So I would say at the very beginning of a relationship, if you're sitting there and you're trying to gauge a person's level of interest at all, in that case, the if he wanted to, he would, or if she wanted to, she would theory has a little bit more validity of, you know what, actually, if they were interested in you, you would know it. But later on into a relationship, you really should be communicating your thoughts, feelings, and needs.
Yeah, I was literally thinking this sounds like a good old case of we're not communicating what matters or what's important.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I also think it's important to say this. 1 John 3:18 says this: "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth."
Fellas, go ask her out on a date. Ladies, start saying yes.
That's it. Okay.
It is written.
Okay.
In the caption.
caption.
Scroll down, read the caption.
All right. Yeah. There we go. Let's clarify where it's written. Okay. The next one, the slow burn theory. The slow burn theory. It says this: relationships that start as friendships and build gradually tend to be stronger and last longer.
I think I'm going to say yes. Here's the deal. You can't say if someone had love at first sight, we got married, like my great uncle, my great aunt, great uncle, they met 1 month later. They were married 62 years.
This is your family?
She died. He went to a nursing home. He was king of the nursing home. Go figure. Then he passed away. Yeah. Long, beautiful life of love.
Okay.
They met. And 1 month later, we're married.
Right.
That's what the 30s brought for you. In the 30s, that was cool.
90
In the
years ago.
2020s, people are a little, you got the eyebrow raised. Yeah, 90 years ago.
Yeah.
In the 30s, it was cool. In the 20s, not so cool anymore.
Right.
I'm joking. If that's your story, that's great. I
Yeah.
pray 62 years of marital bliss on you.
But not 63.
63, you're playing with fire. We all know that. We all know you're playing with fire at 63.
Oh my gosh. Okay, keep going.
I'm joking. Anyway, so that does happen.
Yeah.
You know. However, I think that people will overplay the chemistry card.
Yes.
Where it's like, wow, there's all these fireworks. We feel great. This is awesome. We jump into a relationship. We jump into marriage. Maybe we don't know each other.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't really know each other. And maybe all that I thought you had going for you is that you're really hot. And now we've had a lot of sex, but I don't know how to have a conversation with you. We don't like the same things because I like sports and you like everything except that. You want me to watch a rom-com. I want to, go kick asphalt, whatever, just rocks, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think there's something to be said about, wow, we actually built a friendship.
Yeah.
And maybe there wasn't something there at first, but it's kind of growing.
Yeah.
And I'm learning to love and appreciate you for who you are, not these incredible, intoxicating feelings that gut punched me when I saw you at Starbucks on Airline Drive.
Wow.
Sorry.
Hometown reference there. Yeah, here's the deal. I think that relationships can work if they start as a slow burn. It gives you a great chance to build a solid foundation. And you know what? Some relationships can work, like the one you talked about where it's just instant connection and this is the person, and when you know, and here we are.
I think where this whole thing gets convoluted is people who are in a fantastic friendship with the opposite sex and refuse to take a step forward.
Yeah.
I say explore it. I'm a big advocate, especially if you're past 24.
Yeah.
If you're 24 or older and you have a friend of the opposite sex and you really get along, you need to try it. Well, it'll ruin our friendship. Well, that's fine. Let it ruin your friendship.
Right.
Or
Because at some
actually,
point-
if you date respectfully, it's not going to ruin anything.
And the reality is when you inevitably marry someone else, if they're not the fit, then you're not going to have that.
You're not texting every
anyway.
day. You're not.
Exactly.
Yeah, it completely changes. And so I say, take these friendships and roll the dice.
Wow. Okay. There we go. So, someone needed to hear that. This statistic honestly blows my mind a little. 89.5% of the people who watch or listen to this podcast regularly aren't yet subscribers to the show. So before we dive in, could I ask you one thing? If this podcast has ever helped you, if you care about honest, unfiltered conversations around God's design for sex, dating, and relationships, would you hit subscribe? It's free and it helps us more than you know. And our promise to you is this: we'll do everything in our power to make this show the best it can be. We'll take your feedback, we'll keep answering your toughest questions, and there's no conversation around God's design for sex and relationships that we'll shy away from. Thank you. I remember we were speaking, I think it must have been at like a YWAM situation.
I'm familiar.
And one of the students had come up because we had made a comment about, hey, like marry your best friend. Like people say, marry your best friend, marry your best friend. And one of the students came up to me. Had to be 20, and she's like, but I don't have any best guy friends. And I was like, no, I think you've misunderstood. We're not just saying go to your actual best friend and marry them. We're saying you need to build a friendship with the person.
Your
that
words
you're
carry
dating.
weight.
Yeah.
You need to realize when you say something, people are listening.
She took it so literally. And I was like, oh no, the whole point is that you should marry someone who you are friends with. You need a foundation of friendship, because friendship is what's going to sustain a relationship. Romance is fun, but romance has its ups and it's downs. It's like a roller coaster. But if you have a solid friendship with the person that you marry, you're going to be set up for success. And I think that's really where the slow burn theory comes into play. And First Corinthians, when it describes love, it talks about love being patient. Love being kind. And so I think there's definitely some validity to the slow burn theory.
It reminds me of the John Mayer song, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. Not the same concept, but a very beautiful song.
Very beautiful song. Pretty sure it's about a doomed relationship. So
I don't listen to the words, I listen to the music. Okay. If you're into blues and like John Mayer's voice and think the phrase slow dancing in a burning room is good, highly recommend it. But upon further review, I could see where a burning room would soon collapse on you and there would be carnage.
Yeah. Someone needed to listen to this podcast just to know, slow dancing in a burning room does not need to be my first dance song at our wedding.
Yeah. Whereas my response was, that's hot. Quite literally.
Yes, very hot. Okay. The next one, attachment theory in dating, which you and I have discussed previously. The way you bond, this is attachment theory, and this is how it applies to dating. The way you bonded to your primary caregiver as a kid shapes your love life as an adult. So secure people find stable love, anxious people cling, and avoidant people run.
I think this is a good... what's the word I want to use? I want to use North Star, but North Star is always north.
Yes.
I think this is a good general guideline.
Yeah.
As if you're evaluating yourself or maybe evaluating someone you're interested in and you see patterns that would lend themselves towards anything but a secure attachment, then I think it's good to go in educated. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't marry them. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be in a relationship with them because none of us are beyond growth.
Right.
Whereas you had a very secure attachment, growing up, and mine was a little more confusing at times. And that has played out in our relationship. I'm so glad you didn't look at me and say, he's conflicted. No, thank you.
Yeah.
So maybe I had some other traits that led you to believe I was a safe place to hitch your life to.
You are a safe place to hitch my life to.
What a weird way to verbalize it.
Yeah.
Because I think the hitching phrase came from like horses and wagons.
Yep. We are hitched.
We are hitched.
Yeah.
Like a horse and a wagon.
Yep.
Anyways, so just because someone might display some of the attachment theory things that we had discussed doesn't mean they're not good to date. That's not exactly what you had asked or where we're going. How about you get us on track?
Yeah. I would say that this theory is not just some flippant, like, cultural theory, like I would say the taxi cab theory.
This is like science backed.
This is actually psychological. Like, this is actually, like, science kind of proves that this is how humans operate in the context of relationships. And so, yeah, I think there's absolutely some validity to this theory. We actually did a podcast way back in the day.
In the Gap.
Yes, with a Let's Talk About It favorite, Dr. Margaret Nagib, and she came on and broke down what attachment theory looks like in the context of relationships. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, I've never heard about this, I need to be equipped with this information, you should go back and watch that episode.
And I think whenever you and I were dating, I read a book on it because I was like, oh, I'm so weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Ellis is like completely great and normal. And I'm like, why am I so weird sometimes whenever it comes to relationships? Let me inquire.
Yeah.
So
sure.
that book, I don't know, it's probably called Attached.
It was called Attached.
Yep.
Yep, it was.
Right there in the name.
I would, say this. Attachment theory has a lot to, it speaks a lot to how your heart is wired for love from a really young age. And there is scripture that talks about the complications of your heart. Can you trust your heart? Can you be led by your heart? How do you lead your own heart? It says this in Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? And then just a little while later in scripture, it says this in Ezekiel. This is God speaking. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. And so I think if you're listening to this and you're like, wait a second, they started talking about attachment theory. Daniel said he knew there were some weird things going on in his heart when he was dating. There's some weird things going on in my heart. I just want to be a source of hope for you that there is nothing in your heart that God doesn't see, that he can't tend to, that he can't walk you through. I think, babe, you're a really good example of someone who had a complicated heart.
I have a really good story about that.
Please, go into it.
I mean, it's not a holistic story, but I remember as I was in my journey of trying to figure myself out, and this was a little before we were dating, I woke up in the middle of the night and I had a vision of my own heart wrapped in saran wrap. And it's like, you can see it, you can feel it, but if you touch it, it's a little numb. You know what I mean? Like you can't quite connect with it.
There's a barrier there.
Right. There's like an invisible string.
No.
An invisible piece of saran wrap. But I thought it really gave me direction on how to pray. Wow. I thought, wow, this seems like insight from the Lord that, my heart obviously, it was good. It was a heart of flesh. It was bent towards the Lord, obviously. But there was this invisible cover that just, it prevented a level of intimacy that you would probably want to see. And so, like I said, it just gave me direction on how I could better pray. And I think, if we're pursuing health, if we're pursuing the Lord, maybe you won't have a dream. Maybe you won't have a vision like that where it was very clear to me. But I think the Lord will give you breadcrumbs in areas that will allow you to see the condition of your life and maybe give you a direction to pray for as you're navigating. Man, maybe I'm jacking up a bunch of relationships or I haven't quite figured these things out. That wouldn't be the Lord's will. The Lord wants to lead you to a place of health. He wants to lead you into a place of connection with other people. And a lot of times we just have to partner with him in that experience and say, God, I don't understand this, but I know you do. I know you have the power. Help me learn myself. Help me learn you. Help me learn to connect with others.
That's so good. Do you feel like you got breakthrough in that area?
Yeah. And I think it's been a progressive healing journey for me because it's not like I had that dream and then it's like, I go before the Lord and I'm like, unwrap the saran. You know what I mean? It's not like I didn't write a reprise, and it's like, Lord, I see you unwrapping me. Unwrap. Come out, Lazarus. You know what I mean? Nothing like that. No songs were written. No ballads.
Yet.
But
that could be a banger.
But whenever Moral Revolution drops that track, I stopped halfway through that word. Yeah. Don't be surprised.
All right.
Anyways, but like I said, it's been a progressive healing where I feel like if I look at the condition of my heart from 10 years ago versus where it's at today, I would say, wow, God, you've done a lot. Wow, God, this is still a construction zone.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
What do you mean, definitely?
It's just a term of agreement. That's what I meant by that. Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay. Are you ready for our last one?
I am.
Okay. Here is the last theory we will be discussing today. The multiple soulmates theory. Instead of one true love, you have several right people for different seasons of life, and the one you end up with depends on timing and choice.
Does that mean that if you and I hadn't have got married 3.5 years ago, that it wouldn't have worked out in 10 years?
I think technically, according to this theory, that it would be a possibility, yeah.
But if we were both single by time I'm 40?
Right.
could we get married?
Yeah. Here's the deal. I think this theory is wrong anyway.
It's not about making promises with people.
No, definitely.
But that's good. If you haven't made a promise with maybe, a girl from back in the day, you should be like, if we're both not married at 40, let's just jump in. Right?
No.
Basically an arranged marriage.
He's joking.
Arranged it.
Sometimes I'm scared that our audience isn't going to pick up on the fact that he's joking, but he's joking.
The girl from YWAM hits us up. She's like, I'm 39.
Oh no. Okay. Here's the deal. The multiple soulmates theory. At its core, I disagree with the entire premise of how it would define soulmates. We talked about this at the beginning of the episode. Like, there's not just someone who's floating around out there that's going to complete you. Your soulmate is the person who you choose to marry, right? It says in Genesis 2:24, that's why a man leaves his father and mother, is united to his wife. They become one flesh. You become one, or your soul becomes mated to someone at the time that you marry them.
Yeah, and I think my answer is also grounded in the semantics of the question, because whenever you say multiple soul mates, okay, well, what is mate?
Right.
Mate is, we are married, we are consummated, we are having sex, we are one.
Yeah.
That means, biblically speaking, there is one soulmate.
Yes.
And it's not I'm finding my soulmate. It's I'm finding someone to marry and they become my soulmate.
Yeah.
However, I do think it boded well for me waiting into my 30s to get married, because then I got to marry you.
Yeah. I think that where this theory has a hint of truth behind it is that your attraction can change through different points of your life. So what you're attracted to at 20 may not be what you're attracted to at 30, 40, 50, 60, you name it. I found this scripture very interesting. In 1 Corinthians 7:39, Paul is giving instruction as to what a woman should do when it comes to remarriage. This is interesting. It says, a woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives. But if her husband dies, she is free to marry anyone she wishes. But he must belong to the Lord.
There's your instructions right there.
She's free to marry anyone she wishes as long as he belongs to the Lord.
That's great.
So I think it goes to show in various seasons, if you have a marriage, like if you're a widow, if there are different things. We have a friend who's dating for the first time in 30 years because his wife passed away.
Right.
And so just because his wife passed away doesn't mean that he doesn't have a chance at finding someone to spend the rest of his life with.
Soulmate for a different season.
Exactly. But I also think it is really important to say that once you marry someone and you two are actively in a marriage, that person is your soulmate. You don't get to use this idea or this theory as that person was my soulmate at that point in time, or that person was the one for me at that point in time, but we've both changed so much and they became. No, you entered into a covenant before the Lord.
Yeah.
And that person is your soulmate.
I actually saw something on social media that was fantastic. I think this guy's a pastor. I think this guy's name is Mike. I don't know his last name.
Okay.
And the caption on his video was, I've married 19 different women. And I was like, what? And so obviously I clicked on it.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how with time his wife changes and he's married to a new person. You're not the person that I married. Did you write that down?
I literally have this in the notes.
See, and I didn't know that.
I literally have this in the notes. Research shows that people essentially become different people over time.
Right.
And so psychologists call this the end of history illusion. Meaning we underestimate how much we will grow and change in the future. And that's one of the most beautiful things about marriage, is that who you marry at one point in your life is going to grow and change. And you have the immense privilege of growing and changing with this person, learning to love them again and again and again.
Okay, now to end this episode.
Yeah.
Babe, we've only been married 3.5 years.
Okay.
But each one of us must present the area that we have changed. We're essentially a new person post-marriage, and maybe it's because of the other person, maybe it's not.
Okay. I think I can think of some trivial things.
Go ahead.
I am much more organized.
Okay.
Or just clean in general. I was not a slob, but your level of cleanliness has definitely leveled me up.
Okay.
So that would be pretty trivial. On a deeper level, I think I'm less selfish than I was. I think I was very, very, very selfish when we were dating. Do you disagree? You don't think I'm less selfish?
I think that's sweet.
Oh.
I think it's very sweet that you would say both of those things, especially the organized one. No, I'm joking. Where have I changed? Yeah. I have changed. I am much more slower to enjoy a day rather than work.
Yeah.
You value the downtime.
I do.
You value the relax, rest, reset, recharge.
Yeah.
And so I have incorporated that into my life more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything you can think of where you're like, well, you're a lot different in this area? We talk about magnetism in the relationship, and my magnet was pretty strong, but Ellis has certainly influenced me in many ways.
Yeah. Maybe this is evidence that I am still a little too self-focused, because I can think of multiple ways that I've changed, but I'm not sure what the tangible ways are that you've changed.
She said, when I married perfection, I married perfection.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Let me say this. This is the last thing I say.
Okay.
I read the instructions on things better post-marriage, because I used to just rush and like bang, 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 just like do stuff. And you are very mindful whenever you approach a task.
You move fast and break things.
I will break anything.
Yeah. You communicate better.
I do communicate a lot better.
Yeah. You're much better at communicating your thoughts and feelings than you were 4 years ago.
Well, babe, this just goes to show that I am immensely better because I'm married to you.
That's very sweet. So am I.
You said it really short and quick. Did you mean it like I meant it?
I meant it exactly how I meant it. We've spent a little too long here.
Let's camp.
Right. Yeah.
Let's camp with the cameras off.
No, I definitely meant it. Okay. Dating theories. What do you think?
You live them, you love them.
Yeah, and some of them we just forget.
All right, guys, that's it for today's episode of Let's Talk About It by Moral Revolution. We'll see you next time.
You know that feeling when someone sends you the exact thing you needed to hear? If this episode speaks to you, if it brings clarity, healing, or it just makes you feel seen, chances are someone you love needs it too. So here's our ask to you. Share it, text it to a friend, post it. You never know how one conversation, one click, could change everything for someone else. We know we're not just building an audience here, we're building a movement. So thanks for being a part of it.